So as we were searching for the new editor of Honolulu Magazine, and we talked to so many people across the city, and once we kind of started the conversation with you, and I started talking with all the people that you've previously worked with, one of the people I spoke with about you who stood out in my mind so much was Keoki Kerr, and the very high praise he had for you as a mentor and as a colleague. One of the things he said that I really remember and really stuck with me was that he has you to, he owes his reputation as an investigative reporter to you. He said you taught him to be the investigative reporter that he is, which I think is really high praise.
We covered Police Beat at the same time, and I'd done it a longer time, and he started working as a reporter while he was still in college. He's a good person, and he's a hard worker, and he tries to do a great job, and that shone through even when he was very young.
I think that's another thing that really kind of stood out to me is that you've done a lot of things in the community as sort of a mentor. You've run internship programs at your time at the Advertiser. You've obviously run the Gridiron Show at SPJ to raise money for scholarships, and that's all helping young journalists come along. And that's a big part of the job here too, is bringing writing talent along. So,
well, I'm fortunate that people also reached out to me. And in fact, I got my start as a Star Bulletin intern, paid for by Gridiron Shows of the past. So it comes full circle. Yeah, it really does. And it's great to be able to work with people, and we have such a wonderful community, and to be able to help people come who still are brave enough to want to go into journalism.
Well, in the magazine world, we kind of take a longer view, and we have longer deadlines. What are some of the things you think Honolulu Magazine will tell under your leadership?
Well, I think that's exciting because Honolulu Magazine can tell the deeper story, can take longer, can look at an issue, can go back and tell the story right, or tell the history of it, or look for a trend. And I like to me, Honolulu Magazine is exciting when you're turning to your neighbor and going, did you see what so-and-so said in that article? Or you were reading something, and I like the combination of there's things in the magazine that you didn't know about. There's finds, there's cool things. There's things you didn't know about people in the community. But I also like when you find something that just resonates as like, that's us, that's our community. I was flipping through the covers book, and I came upon the picture of Rel's son and Frank B., and they're sitting on the stairs. And that's just such a Honolulu...
It's a touching photo. Doesn't it just give you, it just evokes this feeling of
it does.
What it is to live here.
Yeah, it's that feeling. And people used to always use the cliche, the melting pot, and I don't think our community is a melting pot. Excuse the food reference, but we're more of a buffet at a potluck,
Yeah,
we're the noodles, the sushi, the kalbi, the Portuguese bean soup, but it's the combination. You don't throw them all together because that wouldn't be right.
Yeah, it wouldn't taste good.
Yeah.
At all.
But we're fortunate to live in a place where we're this sort of overgrown small town. Right? Our population is nearing 1 million for the city and county of Honolulu, but we're still a small town. I mean, I'll still go to the Y and run into somebody who, hey, I used to work with your dad, or I'll run into people I went to school with, and that's why I'm really fortunate that my daughters are growing up in a community that I lived in since I was 11.
I think that's a really cool piece of information about you, that you went to Kalaheo, you went to UH, and now you live in Kailua still and have raised your family in the same town where you grew up.
I moved back. I moved all the way to Honolulu for a while.
All the way over the Poly?
That's right.
But it seems like you made a really conscious choice to stay in Hawaii and make your life here. And not everybody who grows up here does that.
Yeah, I was fortunate to find good journalism jobs here. I went from I started working at the Star Bulletin when I was still in college and finished school, and then KHON, which was the top-rated news station at the time. I was with the Honolulu Advertiser for 14 years until the paper closed, and so I've had an opportunity to try different challenges. And here at the magazine, here's a chance to do magazine journalism, to work with a talented team, and to bring some of my skills and my thoughts about news and consumer and politics and things like that, and combine with people who know this world of magazines and know ways to tell the stories this way. So I think it's an amazing opportunity, and I think that's one of the things that's kept me in Hawaii. I love our community, but the opportunity to do work that I love in the place that I love, well, you can't really beat that.
You can't really beat that. Yeah, and to feel like you're adding something and making this place better.
Yeah, and I have to say that's one of the things I've always loved about my work, is I've been fortunate to do something that I might not make a difference today or tomorrow, but some weeks you really do make a difference in our field, and we get to tell stories of our community, and sometimes we make people laugh, and sometimes we make people cry, and sometimes we get in the face of people whom we should get in the face of. We should question authority. I mean, one of the things I do remember of some of the harder news stories I've read in Honolulu Magazine, I remember you reading about the crystal meth epidemic, reading about homelessness before it was on everybody's front page. And I think it's important to explore those issues because we do care about our community, and our community, we don't look the other way. We look at what the issues are and grapple with them. And I think that's important.
So you're the fourth editor of the magazine in about 30 years. Not very many editors of Honolulu Magazine. What are you most excited about joining the team?
I'm excited about the history of the magazine. I mean, there is only one Honolulu Magazine for the 125 years. That's an amazing history, and it's a great team of people who come together and do this monthly, and it's just very interesting to be able to have the opportunity to tell all these stories, and I'm excited about it. I have to say that I thought it was a good sign. I thought it was a good sign when one of the first stories that I edited was about eccentric billionaire Genshiro Kawamoto. I felt right at home when I got to read about that, as I've covered some of those stories and written parody about some of those stories as well.
I remember the parody about that, one of my very favorite gridiron sketches ever.
It's still a great story to tell, and I think it'll be interesting to have the opportunity to keep telling those stories of Honolulu.